Welcome to the Black Creator Series, brought to you by Candlewick Press in collaboration with Red Clay Educators, hosted by Dr. Sonja Cherry-Paul, bringing dynamic books, authors, illustrators, and artists to your classroom and to the world. Look for episodes of the Black Creator Series on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Our guest creator this episode is Arlène Elizabeth Casimir, an educator, consultant, healer, herbalist, and writer. Her debut picture book, Back Home, transports readers to Haiti through a father's tales and a child's imagination and invites them to tell stories of their own. Here's your host, New York Times bestselling author Dr. Sonja Cherry-Paul, founder of Red Clay Educators and co-founder of the Institute for Racial Equity in Literacy.
This is such a special day to me because I get to talk to my friend about her incredible picture book, Back Home. Arlène, welcome to the Black Creator Series.
Thank you, Sonja. It's a dream come true. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so thrilled, and so excited about this book. You and I are both educators, and we've done together a lot of work that I cherish, a lot of work around thinking about identity, about ways we can support teachers in the work of affirming the identities of their students. And Back Home, this gorgeous picture book, is such a powerful manifestation of that and so much more. Back Home is a powerful honoring not only of your father, your mother, but also an honoring of the important role of place in identity development. So, how has Haiti, your parents' birthplace, shaped your identity?
Mhm. Well, I see myself as a Haitian American. The way that I see it is that the outside world was America and the inside world in my home was Haiti. From the way that we ate to the way that we spoke to the language we spoke. My whole entire life, I grew up speaking Haitian Creole. So when I got to kindergarten, it was really a space to be immersed in the English language because that was not the case at home. So from the music we listened to the foods we ate, to the stories that we were told, everything was about Haiti.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you frame this as the outside world was United States of America, but the inside world, the part that was to your core, was Haiti. And as young people read Back Home, they get to go on a journey with the main character, Loon. Am I pronouncing her name right?
Mm.
Who, because of her father, develops a strong relationship with Haiti through the stories that he tells. And this becomes, you get to see it and feel it, how deeply it becomes a part of who she is and shapes her identity. You've called Back Home a love letter to your parents' birthplace. Um, Through your retellings of the stories told to you by your father, readers are enveloped in the beauty of Haiti. And I just want to put up the cover of the book right now. We'll peek inside soon, but readers just get brought into the beauty of Haiti, its landscape, people, culture, spirituality. And we know that Haiti has been in the news most recently,
Mhm.
and stories being told through the media too often cast a negative light on all of Haiti. It is the single story that Chimamanda Adichie has spoken about, being told over and over again about poverty, corruption, bloodshed, painting all of Haiti from that single brush. How is Back Home a roadmap for children to push back against negative narratives that attempt to define them
Mhm.
and to instead write identity-inspired love letters of their own?
Yeah, I think it's the recognition that what we focus on expands. And this is something that we know. The same way corruption, lies, and poverty can can spread like wildfire, that's the same way that inspiration and beauty and love can also spread like wildfire. So although, there is importance around truth telling, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the process of transmutation that I have been invited to embrace is to recognize the gifts of my culture, of my heritage, and how they have fostered this strong sense of self within me, and how that allows me to be an advocate for the good that is taking place in Haiti and to be a part of the solution. And that process of transmutation and transcendence is a dignified process, because when you turn on the news and you read the media, when I was a child, the same thing was happening in Haiti. When I say the same thing was happening in Haiti, what I mean is the same information that is portrayed in the news about Haitians, it was different in the sense of the narrative that's being told, but the energy was the same, that these people are not good. This place is not good. When I was growing up, there was the beginning of the AIDS epidemic. And during that time, the big word out was like, these Haitians are bringing AIDS to America. And it was horrific, like to be teased at school. And when I go and provide like professional development to teachers, I recognize that that isn't my narrative only. Like when teachers are doing this identity work, it's coming up for them as well. And today, what is coming up for Haitians is they're coming here, they're taking our jobs, they're cannibals. Like there's all kinds of narratives that children are struggling with. And I do have colleagues who are teachers in predominantly, you know, Caribbean schools in schools with predominantly Caribbean children, Haitian children, and they're naming like how they're being teased. And I remember growing up that some children were ashamed to be Haitian. Like you did not tell people that you were Haitian because you would get teased. And I wrote back home so that children, there's so much love when you enter a Haitian home. I wanted children to be proud because I remember being bullied. I remember being teased because there was no hiding it. Like my parents were so Haitian. And so I remember that feeling of still standing in my pride and dignity. And I just want every child who hears those stories of back home and who longs to go back to Haiti but can't because of the circumstances that is currently happening in the country, that this gives them hope. I'm just hoping that this story raises the vibration so that there are beautiful solutions for us all to be able to visit back home if we would like. And I know that there is pride associated with the fact that Haiti is the first free Black nation in our world. So there is a lot of weight that comes with that, to say there's this group of people who decided, we will not be a part of oppression in the Western world. Like we are claiming our freedom. And I know that there's a price, which my dad has always taught me as a child. That freedom came at a price. And while paying that price, Haitians are still able to create lives of dignity and honor and grace and beauty and love.
I think about, as a child, never learning about the Haitian Revolution. That learning never happened. But I learned about some of those things that you were just talking about and what we hear, in the news, those kinds of narratives. And, one has to really be willing to interrogate, how do we have this country that stood up for freedom, that, fought for the right to self-govern and to be independent? And what happens when the folks who do that are Black, right? What do we see? How do we see white supremacy and colonization and imperialization and all of that, you know, be the response to Black people who dare to say, we will be free. What we see is what's happening again and again and again. And I just, urge educators to read back home, because what we need is to disrupt that narrative and to provide these beautiful, powerful stories and histories that are too often hidden. Recently, there's been this emphasis on discussions about the teaching of reading, on building background knowledge, and in teaching writing, there's been a big focus on response to reading, particularly informational nonfiction, right? Because you are an educator and an author, what are you noticing about opportunities for young children to write their own stories in schools, stories that stem from their identities and experiences in classrooms? And why does this deserve space?
What I'm noticing is that inviting students to craft narratives that reflect their highest selves is not prioritized. And that is by design, unfortunately. And it is really detrimental to a child's development. And what I'm noticing is that in very privileged areas, children are allowed to explore their identities at an early age and to gather information and tell their stories from their perspective with the information that they've gathered. There's space held for them to do that kind of work. But in areas that are quote unquote failing or serving impoverished students or serving students whose parents are so busy trying to survive that they can't advocate for the type of curriculum and culture that their students need to experience to experience the highest expression of themselves at an early age, then that is compromised because we need them to score well on their exams. We need to focus on test prep. We need to focus on this mandated curriculum that, doesn't even have a space for students to do this inner work. The reason why I became an educator is because I learned that college is a space that allows you to shape your own identity. And I started to wonder, why wasn't I given that opportunity at 5 years old? Because my imaginative self, my creative self has always existed. And it doesn't make sense that I had to resurrect her at 18. Mm-hmm. So I went into teaching, particularly reading and writing, to support children to do that at an early age. And I did that for 15 years before I could even give birth to Back Home as a story, because there was so much internal healing I had to do. There was so many decisions I had to make about how will I tell these stories that have been deeply embedded in me since I was a child? How will I ignore the outside noise and allow something beautiful to flourish within me? And children can do that. Children are ready and ripe to do that work now. But unfortunately, the adults often have other priorities and don't see how transformative and powerful this could be for a child to have a space to say, I am the director, author, and screenwriter of my life story, and I will tell this in empowering ways. We do not give children the opportunity to do that enough.
Thank you for everything that you just said. It should be the soundbite, the official clap back to so much of this conversation that we're hearing around knowledge building, because as you've, just laid out for us, the emphasis comes with the assumption that children, particularly Black and brown children, do not have knowledge, or they don't have the knowledge that counts. And I love that you said you should not have had to resurrect yourself, right, at 18. Why are we doing this? And this continues to be an experience that Black children have to navigate in schools, who understandably then feel disconnected from learning, start to develop an aversion to reading and writing.
Mhm.
And storytelling is an important part of many children's lives. Stories teach children about their identity, their culture, their values. And when we invite children to write stories told to them by loved ones and to write their own, this helps them to discover themselves, to reclaim themselves, and to understand and to love themselves. So we have to talk about Ken Daley's genius in this book.
Genius.
I mean, the tenderness, the beauty, the vibrancy of the illustrations in Back Home Story Time with My Father. Whew, just stunning. I love how he also uses these effects to just show how the stories are just living and thriving across the land and into the spirit of Loon. Just beautiful. Now, I know this is probably going to be hard, but do you have a favorite page? I'm going to share mine with you in a moment, but do you have one?
I do have a favorite page.
Ooh, did I get to it yet?
I have a couple. You haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay. I don't want to give it away the whole book because we need people to buy this book,
Sure.
read this book, and you will not regret it because it is just stunning all the way through. So I'm only giving them a peek. You tell me what page to turn to.
Okay. Hold on one moment.
Yeah, it's okay. While you're looking, I'm going to share mine, and maybe it's the same one.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Oh,
This, I love this so much. I love it so much because, you know, you are my friend, and I think about this little girl and her dad, and I can't help but think about you and your dad looking in the mirror and seeing, you know, your face in his, and him seeing your face in his face.
mhm.
And the words that you write, everyone says that I look like my daddy. When my daddy tells me his stories, I see myself in his face and movements, and I know he sees himself in me too. During story time, it's like we're looking into a mirror that takes both of us back home.
Mhm. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
This particular page was so important to me, so special, and was such a collaboration in terms of the descriptions that I share with Ken Daley, like what I was trying to um, portray in terms of this particular page in the book. And he really did it justice.
Yeah.
The page prior, however, is one of my favorite pages.
Right before.
Yes, and I love what Ken Daley did with his brilliance because every Haitian knows that when we're being told stories, they begin with click, the person calls, and the children or the people who are listening always respond crack. And that's how you know it's story time. But what I love is how he opens the crown of the father in the story, and you see this rush of Haiti coming into the home. And
Mm,
that to me was so brilliant because it really illustrated the spiritual component of storytelling, I feel, by the way he opens the father's crown on this page, and the way that she's pointing, like, it's happening, it's story time. It's just um, a beautiful page to me.
it is beautiful. The whole coming together of words and illustrations is just beautiful. And I read in the back that Ken Daley says that he draws inspiration for his artwork from his African Caribbean roots. And I feel like you feel that, you
Yeah.
know, throughout the story. You definitely feel that. And while I'm back here, I want to talk a little bit about this glossary and the author's note. I could feel you with your teacher hat on as you did this, right? The way that you are helping students to not only understand what the words mean, but to pronounce them, right? The pronounced Haitian Creole words used in the story, and then the two author's notes. Can you just share a little bit about why you chose to write two author's notes in this book?
I chose to write two author's notes because I often read children's books and wonder, who were you talking to? And I was able to resurrect my creative self and my ability to tell my story in liberating and powerful ways at an elite institution as a young adult, 18
Mhm.
years old. But when I became a teacher at 22, that's when I was able to engage with my inner child and excavate the stories that I wanted to share with the world. So being a teacher and engaging my students in writing practices and modeling for them really gave me the seat to tell my own stories.
Yeah.
And what I learned from that experience is I want to speak to children and adults because teaching children how to write spoke to the inner child in me, and it also spoke to the adult in me. The inner child in me was able to be creative and really take the writing exercises that I shared with them very seriously and show up authentically. The adult in me needed support about how to help children to do that. So I'm always holding the two very tenderly and gently.
Mhm.
How can I bring my own inner child, someone who needs love and support and guidance, to the forefront, as well as my adult self, someone who needs to guide, support, and love, and to know that there is space for children and there's also space for that. So I wanted there to be an author's note that spoke to both audiences because at heart, I am a teacher and I am a child. I have an inner child. So I wanted to be able to speak to my audience, both adults and children.
So, Arlène, you and I have talked about this last page in your book. We've had lots of discussions about this, and I think it's going to spark lots of discussions for young readers, right? One of the stories that Loon hears from her daddy is the one where he makes a wish at the dancing rivers to go to school. So I'm just going to say that. And at the end of the story, Loon says that she has a story of her own that she wants to tell her father. So I wanted to ask, what insights are you hoping young readers will have about Loon as they read this last page?
The stories that your families tell can really point you towards your purpose.
That's beautiful and powerful. And I can't wait to hear kids talking about that.
Too.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else are you working on that young readers can look forward to if you're able to talk about it?
I'm not able to talk about it, but let's just say that Haiti's on my heart, Haiti's on my mind, and whatever I work on will bring the beauty and love to Haiti.
What was your dad's reaction when he read back home?
He was so humbled and proud and sweet. And Sonja, he was ready to just continue the storytelling. It was a moment where he said, you remembered everything. You were paying attention. And he just was blown away. And now our quality time is has again, that childhood sentiment has been resurrected. And
Yeah.
now when he comes to my home, he continues to tell me stories about back home.
Arlene, you are an incredible human being. You are intentional in all that you do, from supporting educators and students with culturally responsive and trauma-informed practices, teaching practices, to the healing-centered work you provide to various communities, to writing books for children that serve as beautiful mirrors, helping them to feel seen and loved. In your author's note, you write, by modeling and sharing our narratives, we help others to realize their inherent power, to learn from the past, and to author their own stories. What does it mean to you to be a Black creator?
Ah, Sonia, I'm crying. Everything. It means everything. Everything. This was my lifelong dream. And it shows me that you can be who you know you're born to be. You can be, I always knew that I was a Black creator. I always knew that I was a storyteller, that the healing I offer is through storytelling. And that I can leverage that universal healing salve to provide comfort in turbulent times and to be a light in dark times. And so to be able to leverage my gift and to really understand every lesson, every step has led me to this moment. And I remember wondering when am I going to be able to be a children's book author? When am I going to be able to share these stories? When this is all I want to do. And it became clear that I had to teach children. I had to unlearn things. I had to really teach teachers. I had to become a teacher educator. Everything was about the journey of becoming a Black creator. And here I am, a reflection of my creator. There is nothing more that I could have asked for. I'm so grateful, and I feel like this is just the beginning.
Well, I'm so proud of you. I love you. And thank you for being here, Arlène.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Black Creators Series, a Candlewick Press and Red Clay Educators collaboration. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notifications button so you won't miss an episode. For more information about the Black Creators Series, go to blackcreatorseries.candlewick.com or sonjacherrypaul.com, or go to Red Clay Ed on Twitter and Instagram.